Hello everyone, this is Shannon Deskins with East Kentucky Broadcasting, here for our latest edition of the City Commissioners Report for the City of Pikeville. And with me today I have Jimmy Carter, our Mayor Pro Temp for the city, and Jared Arnett, the President and CEO of the Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. So thank you guys for joining us today. Jimmy, I guess this is our normal time that you and I will sit down and usually go over all the different things that have come up in the latest City Commissioners meeting.
We did this past Monday, had our regular scheduled meeting, and as you can see by the agenda, there wasn't a whole lot that happened. We had a couple of special meetings during the holidays and got a lot of that stuff, like paying bills and that type of thing taken care of, so we didn't have a whole lot. But we did ask Jared and the Chamber, Jim Workman, to come along with him Monday and give us a presentation on some of the things the Chamber was doing, and I thought it was very interesting, and I thought it'd be a good idea maybe to ask Jared to come along and explain some of the programs that I wasn't aware of that the Chamber is offering our businesses and the Chamber members and for Pikeville and Pike County.
And it's still hard for us to get into the mindset of the Chamber now being so much more than just Pike County. And, you know, it happened a couple of years ago, but we're still having to really think and train our minds to realize our workforce that you guys take care of is so much larger now than it has been in the past.
Right.
And with everything, you guys are just growing tremendously.
That was really the reason I asked Donovan. It's probably been 2 months ago. I told him I'd like to come and present to the City Commission and basically update them on our mission and what we're doing and what our organization looks like now, and staff members and board members. I really did a all-encompassing presentation to them because I really wanted them to understand, you know, we've grown regionally, and part of it's been in membership, but most of it's been in our mission. Because we see Pikeville as a regional hub, and we think for a regional hub to grow, you got to grow the region, and that's really been our motto and our mission. And we've gained some membership out in the new counties. I gave them statistics. I think we're still at about 320 members in Pike County out of a total 510. So still a big majority of our membership and the companies we work with on a day-to-day basis are here in Pike County.
Well, I guess just give us a little rundown of things that you would really like for us to let our viewers know that's going on with you guys.
Well, that sounds great. We can do that. A few of the things we talked about that evening was really a difficulty and that we've seen from our membership as far as it goes with workforce. And a lot of that's come from the service industry, retail and food service, with the challenges of maintaining quality workforce. I had a local business owner, HR manager, call me and say, it's not really the turnover, which is typical in that industry, but it's really us being able to find qualified employees. So what we've tried to do is we've partnered with another organization, the East Kentucky Controlled Employment Program, and
now that's the one.
East Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program.
Now a lot of people will hear the term EKCEP.
EKCEP,
okay.
yeah.
Same
and they have lots of great programs. They are a grant-funded organization specifically to work with the workforce of the region, and they're managed by the Workforce Investment Board. But they have two programs that they really offer that we're really partnering pretty hard on. One of those is the Fast Forward to Work program. And it's a 6-hour training class. It basically covers customer service training, work ethic training, workplace skills. A lot of things that we see in the younger generation that we get reports from our members that they don't understand a 40-hour work week or showing up on time or hiding your cell phone or whatever it may be that our members are seeing struggles with. Well, this is a program that we believe we can offer for them to send their employees to. But as part of it, since they had mentioned that they were having struggled just getting applications for jobs, a lot of that deals with public transportation, the pay rate, and whether they're going to be hired in at full-time or part-time, and does it make sense for me to travel from out in the county into town to work for a minimum wage job. And we're working on that issue as well with public transportation and trying to make it economically feasible for people in a wider area to work in those jobs. But the Fast Forward to Work, what we're kicking around right now is we've got 2 or 3 restaurants that are tentatively interested in focusing on the new student growth at the University of Pikeville. And with their enrollment doubling over the last 2 to 3 years, there's more potential there to recruit some employees. So what we've talked about doing is offering, if we can get some of those students to enroll in this Fast Forward to Work program and get that certificate, that some of these employers would hire them in at a higher wage potentially, or give them some kind of bonus or incentive to complete that program. So it's a win-win for all. The university, its students get employed. The chamber is kind of the liaison, the connection between it all. And hopefully at the end of the day, the businesses have better employees providing better service, which affects the end user and end consumer. So.
Yeah, and that's good, and that's something that the three of us talked about before we turned the cameras on.
Yeah.
Is US 23 that runs right through Pikeville. A lot of people don't realize the traffic count
Right.
That comes through every single day, and we have a lot of restaurants, fast food restaurants, right along that.
Yeah.
And some people are maybe not coming to Pikeville, but they may be traveling through Pikeville. It's a perfect opportunity for them to say, stop and get something to eat.
Right.
We know how important that first impression is. And that first impression of our city may be the person who takes their money and hands them their food at the drive-thru.
Right.
So we, first impressions, we usually think about, okay, if we have to come here to do business. But that first impression could be something so small that we can't leave anything out as far as making sure that our quality of everything goes all the way from the top to the bottom.
Right.
I think it has a lot to do with also, with that first impression. Like you say, they may just be going through right now, but, in 2 or 3 weeks later, they may see that there's some show coming to the expo or something like that, or a basketball game or something like that, and they're thinking, well, I may not want to come back because I had a bad experience. So we want to make sure everybody has a good experience every time they come to Pikeville in whatever location they're in.
It's so easy for us, just our nature, to draw a huge conclusion over something so small.
Yeah.
And somebody could actually say, well, they're rude in Pikeville. Just because maybe one person might have been rude to them, they're going to just draw that whole picture of, well, that's just the way they are there.
You see that happen a lot, and it happens from a business perspective too. I worked in an independent retailer for about 5 years, managing a retail store, and everything we did, every success we had was built off of customer service. Try to create return customers and building lifetime value in customers. And so we feel it's a win-win, one for the organization that we hope we can help, that I think they're going to have a better bottom line and a better year and better business if their front line is handling things correctly. But also for the community, we're looking for the same thing, return customers, return visitors, and increase traffic. And I think it's a win-win for everybody. And it's really a niche that the Chamber fits right into, and it fits with exactly what our mission is.
Now, Jared, another one of the things that you talked about was you said you were doing 2 different projects with the EKCEP program. What's the second one that you guys are working on?
The second one is the HOME, is the acronym for it. It's Hiring Our Miners Every Day. They've received a grant that's enabled them to fund some retraining for miners that have been laid off from the mining industry. The Chamber's always been a big supporter of the mining industry and the coal industry, and the coal industry's been a good supporter of the Chamber. But we're realizing the times that we're in and the struggles we're facing, so we really want to give these miners an opportunity. It's a great paying wage, what they had in the coal industry, and we've got to find some way to move their skills and talents, which they have plenty of, in a different industry and a different skill set. So we're working with them to host different events and get them out and get them signed up for different training opportunities. They're also providing funding for employers who want to hire a laid-off miner, that they will pay to retrain them, pay their training period, even some stipends to pay their payroll for the first little bit.
And that's something, you talk to some of the miners who have been laid off, and this is something that's really good for them, because a lot of our older miners, and I know we're kind of aging out in that industry, they went into that because they didn't think they had another option.
Right.
They thought, well, that's all there is, that's all I can do. So, with our technology and the fact that we're growing as a region now, some of them are wiping their brow and saying, okay, this is not totally a bad thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that they do have these training opportunities now to finally, at this point in their lives, think, I want to do something else, and somebody is going to help me get there.
Right. And it really is true that today's mining industry is a completely different world than it was 20, 30 years ago. They use a completely different set of technology, completely different equipment, And the technology they're running, the equipment they're running, those skills are needed in multiple different industries. The struggle we face and the challenge we're looking at is, as we're retraining them for these new industries, we need to be recruiting those new industries and working to position our communities and our region to build on a new industry. And what's that going to be is the question we're trying to answer every day.
You know, a lot of the people who aren't familiar with the mining industry are surprised when you tell them that there's an electrician underground in the mines. You know, there are highly trained people, very intelligent men and women who work underground.
It's very true, and you know, one of the stories that tells that better than any is John Justice with Cedar. They did a program over at Hazard, I believe, where it's basically I can't remember the name of the program, but it's comparing mining to being an astronaut. And they brought an astronaut in to tour a deep mine and see different things, and they thought it was going to be completely different. But once the astronaut got underground, he said, "You guys are using a lot of the same technologies, the same things that we're using." He was amazed at what the mining industry does. I think a lot of us would be if we could get under the ground and see what they're doing. It's really a tremendous industry.
Very high tech, very technical to the smallest little thing.
Yeah.
As far as how they work this equipment and what they have to do, especially with the regulations now.
Right.
And technology.
Right.
So it's good to see that the miners who have been laid off, they do have that option now.
Yeah.
And it seems like from what I'm hearing that they are taking advantage of what's being offered to them.
Yes.
And, you know, another thing, talking about retraining and education, the Chamber's also working with the University of Pikeville for some new things that you guys are trying, which goes back to everything we talked about with customer service and the front line and everything else.
What we're trying to do, the Chamber has really become a vehicle for cooperation and working with the other organizations that are out there providing some service, but to create some form of synergy that we can pull what resources each of us offer together and make something really influential on the community. So what we've done is we've partnered with Howard Roberts. He's the Dean of the Business College there at the University of Pikeville. And being a business organization and having a university here in our town with a business department, it makes sense that we should be in constant dialogue and talking about things that are happening to get their students plugged into a real-life business organization, and also to give their faculty an opportunity to be involved in what's happening here in the community, because we got a lot of academic expertise there on the Hill that we could really not just drive it toward the students, but use it for our members and our businesses. So what we've done is we've created a training program. We're working on 3 new programs. One of those hopefully we'll be launching in the next month. It's going to be a customer service training and enhancement program. And one of the professors, assistant professors there at the university, David Snow, he put the curriculum together for that, and we'll be presenting that presentation. We've already did one run through. We tested it on our ambassador club, and they thought it was fantastic, thought it was great. And really the goal of that is to connect customer service to the successful potential of business, how important customer service is, and given certain guidelines and what to expect and how to really take care of a customer. And I think it'll be great as we can get out to some of our different organizations here in the community and throughout the region, get them plugged in. And it gives them an opportunity to hear an academic approach while still blending it with real-world examples. Because lots of times those two don't match up. You complete a business degree and then you get out in the real world and some of those things aren't exactly what you expected. So this kind of brings those two together. Being a student of business, I know how important that can be.
You know, most of my life I've been working in retail most of my life and still do in somewhat. And with this new retail development that's getting ready to come out of the ground down behind Walmart here this spring, I just thought this very intriguing when Jared was talking about this during the meeting Monday night, that this is going to be so instrumental in helping us get the people that these companies and retailers need to make their businesses successful here in Pikeville. And
that'll make your job easier too when you all reach out to potential business owners who aren't from this area, when you can say, look, we've got a great workforce. You know, you can bring your business here and you know that you're going to sell your product, but then there's that middle ground of between you get the products to the people, you've got to have that workforce, that customer service,
Right.
those salespeople who are going to make that sale.
Right.
So when you can offer that as an additional incentive, that's going to just make it more appealing for new businesses to come in.
Definitely. As we look at the potential of, some challenges we're seeing right now with getting workers in that industry and then bringing on 400 to 600 new jobs, a vehicle like this is going to have to be in place to get those people trained and get them prepared. And what you'll have here is, rather than companies having to send their employees to Lexington or to other parts of the state for these different types of trainings, or to pay extravagant fees to have somebody come in here and train their organization, hopefully it will be a economically friendly venue that you can use through the chamber, partnering with a local university to get those same trainings and those same skills. The other two programs that are still in the works that will probably be a few months out, we hope to do a new manager training, so that this will be a training set up for an organization that somebody gets a promotion. It's the first time they've ever been responsible for employees. So basically a crash course on what they can expect and how to prepare them for that. And then the third one is going to be an executive leadership training. Mm-hmm. That will be for people who've been in leadership for 10 years or more. It's going to bring the academic side again, that they can hear the new theories that are out, the new things that are coming through the college and management training classes. Basically a refresher course to put those things back in their mind, and maybe some new ways they can manage an organization and lead the team.
Well, that takes care of everything in your business community, from your new hires all the way up to the management that's been there for a while.
That's really our goal, was to reach that entire gamut and have 3 classes, 3 sessions that hopefully we can do on a quarterly basis or a biannual basis, whatever it is, or semi-annual, that we can provide that benefit and provide that resource.
Well, that's good news. And Jimmy, that's got to make you feel good representing the city and all that we have to offer, to know that, it's just going to make our total package that much sweeter to offer.
Absolutely, and it makes it easier for, Minta Cheney and the Main Street people and economic development to be able to go after some of these people. And so, we get calls every day, and it's always either one or two things. It's location, as everybody knows about retail, or workforce. And we have struggled in the past with some of our workforce, but I think with the Chamber's leadership, we're definitely in the right direction to fix it.
Right. And Jared, you've got some numbers that you can talk about also, as far as, our region and the economy and where we're going with things too.
I do, and when I presented to the City Commission, I wanted them to understand why our board. I work for 29 board members. Our chairman right now is Danny Van Hoos from Appalachian Wireless. I have 4 other full-time employees beside myself on the staff. And I wanted them to understand, from our perspective, why we decided to tackle this regional concept. And one of it was because we looked across the state and the successful regions of the state. If you look at what they're doing, they're working together from the minimum of 3 counties to 8 counties, working together and promoting their area. So you see areas like Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, you see the Bowling Green Area Chamber of Commerce that's serving 8 counties, you see Commerce Lexington that's creating coalitions with the communities around them, with Winchester and Nicholasville. You see things happen around Louisville. You see all these different areas that are coming together and realizing to make something happen, you've got to have a bigger voice, and to have a bigger voice, you've got to represent more people. So that was really our goal. And, I'm from Eastern Kentucky, and our tagline is "the power to be heard." And the thinking behind that was, one, we wanted to give the small businesses out there an opportunity to be a part of something that they felt like they could finally get their voice out there and have somebody speaking on their behalf. But the second, and I believe the biggest part, and what we've probably been the most successful at so far, is demand attention from the rest of our state to Eastern Kentucky. Whether that's through political visits and people showing up, coming to see us, at least hearing us out, or whether that's the ability for our chamber to go to Frankfort. And before we had our representation entitled us to 3 legislators that we could speak to on behalf of our service area. Well, now we're at 9. And 2 of those at this time are the Speaker of the House and now the President of the Senate with Robert Stivers. that I can have a conversation with when it comes to economic development or legislative issues here in Eastern Kentucky. And we've seen part of that already come into play with the Commercial Air Service project. Our members stepped up and wrote letters of support. We had multiple meetings with the legislators, and I believe our partnership on that have played a big role in moving that project to the point it is now. Another part of it, with the UPIKE effort that happened last year during the General Assembly, we wrote multiple letters. I think our members wrote over 2,200 letters of support, and made a splash there as well. But when we looked at the statistics of our 8 counties, and we had a total population at that time of about 216,000, we're down to about 210,000 now in our 8 counties. And lots of times we talk about unemployment numbers, and people want to know what the unemployment percentage is. And that number is important, but what we took a look at was what economists call the real unemployment. That means the number of people who are no longer signed up on unemployment, or basically given up looking for a job. So the unemployment numbers, they measure labor force, and what percentage of that is looking for a job or actively working. So if you see the unemployment numbers, that means people who are looking for jobs. I think it's just over 10% right now for our region. Mm-hmm. That's the percentage that can't find jobs that are looking for them, that are signed up at the office. But then you look at real unemployment in our region, and it's about 51%. 51% of our population 16 and over are not actively looking for a job.
Now that is, just to break it down, that is those who, like you said, their unemployment's expired, they've given up. But that's also your retired, your aging population also, correct?
That's the aging population. That's people who are retired. That includes people on disability. It includes a large group. But if you look across the state average, I think, is 40% that would be not in the labor force. So typically 60% of that group would be out there in the labor force, and we're not anywhere near that. And what I've been trying to tell people is the chicken and the egg. That total is just over 90,000 people in our 8 counties. And if those 90,000 people showed up for a job, do we have those jobs to fill? And we don't. So you're looking at both sides. Let's develop our workforce. But on the other side of that, we turn to the regional chamber, and it's going to be the marketing arm, it's going to be the planning arm, the strategy arm on, as a region, what are our community assets, and how can we brand our region different than it's ever been branded, and start to market outside of this area, and to start build relationships with these consultants and these site developers that we've never really been able to do before. And it's really been an exciting opportunity, and we're working on building an arm of the chamber called One Eastern Kentucky. Mm-hmm. That will be a nonprofit geared to marketing Eastern Kentucky for economic development.
I've just been sitting here since you talked about the chicken and the egg thing, about what a tough balancing act that is when you've got 90,000 people who could be trained for a job. So if you spend all your time training them, and then you've got it balanced, okay, they're ready, then you don't have anything to offer them. On the other hand, you can bring the jobs in and offer the jobs, but you've not got the people trained. So It's really got to find that way to balance to make that perfect situation.
Well, the good thing is we know we've got 400 to 500 jobs coming here next year.
Good.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they've been very proactive to get some of these programs started. So we'll have something to offer to these companies when they do come.
Definitely,
and they are coming.
And those will be a lot of those will be great paying jobs. I come from retail. Jimmy's in retail. Donovan was in retail for a long time, and they're great paying jobs there with the different management positions that are available. And as a region, it's good for our chamber to be looking at this and to really begin to market. And I've started attending the statewide economic development conferences and things of this nature to develop our network, because there are lots of different organizations doing little pieces of the puzzle, with the area development districts, with the Cabinet for Economic Development with the state. I think I put a slide up the other night, and I had about 12 on there of different organizations that we're working with. And you know, our Economic Development Committee has grown from about 8 members to about 17 right now. So people are seeing what we're doing, they're finding value in what we're doing. And a lot of it's just taking a hard look at the region. We have a consultant, and sometimes it takes an outside perspective, because it's kind of like a boat coming into shore needing a lighthouse, that light outside shining and seeing things from a different perspective. So we've got a professional that's coming in that does this for a living. They've been in the economic development game for a long time, and they're going to take a look at each of our 8 counties and take an analysis of how ready they are to answer potential requests from new industry, how active they are in marketing that new industry, identify some gaps, and then give a plan that each of the counties can use to do a better job, and a plan on how our organization can play a role in that.
Well, it definitely sounds like, you know, our entire region is going in the right direction, and then, you know, like you said, Pikeville being sort of like the hub for that area.
Right.
It makes us feel good to know, you know, in an economy that seems like it's going south, that we've got so much of these lights, like you said, lighting up to bring extra people in here. And as representative of the commission, Jimmy, you've got to feel good to know that we've got that kind of backing.
Well, it's very important, and we're tickled to death that Jared and the chamber and all the chamber members are working towards a common goal, and that's to get us ready for these jobs that are coming. And what's going to spawn off of those jobs? There's going to be other things that's going to happen with that, and just like the downtown with Jenny Wiley Theater, other things are going to spawn from that. So it's just a roller coaster or snowball effect that's going to happen. So we want to thank them and thank Jared for stopping by today and sharing all this good news with us.
I appreciate
Thank you very much for joining us today. And you know, I'm sure Jimmy will tell you you've got a seat anytime that you've got something that you want to share with the commission, and then we'll turn around and tell the public.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And thanks, Jimmy, for joining us today. Any final words that you have to say before we wrap?
Nothing but thank you and East Kentucky Broadcasting for helping us out and getting the word out.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's just a partnership, everybody working together to get the message out there. So thank you, guys. And thank you for joining us once again for the City Commissioners Report. For East Kentucky Broadcasting and Pike TV, I'm Shannon Deskins.